Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Elevated Conversations about Health and Healing. It's me, Ellie, your host. Oh, you guys, we've had another week over here. Yes, did not drop a podcast last week. I have really great podcasts coming. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a life update because I am stretched thin, and I know that I am not the only mom in a season of feeling stretched thin. And I know how difficult that can be. I know how difficult I'm walking it out. I'm right there with you. Ayla ended up with croup this week. Walker had it. I think my other kids had much lighter versions of the virus, but we were able to handle almost all of it with the tools we had at Elevated holistically. And praise Jesus, we have a nurse practitioner at Elevated who was able to see Ayla, so I didn't have to bring her to the emergency room. And I shared that on my social media. And I cannot believe how many people did not know that we have these services at Elevated. So much excitement around that. And I'm really excited that people, one, didn't know, and also like, how didn't people know? How can I do a better job of marketing? But Elevated is mostly word of mouth. My goal for 2026 is to start to do more advertising, but what a gift. What a gift. But I'm here to meet you in the middle of the real conversation. Because 2024 was exceptionally hard for me. 2025 also hard. Definitely hard in different ways. And my faith in these last 2 years has been completely tested. And I think that I know that I am not alone when I say that, like, having faith does not make things easier. In fact, sometimes it makes things harder. But it always makes things more worthwhile. And I know I'm not the only person out there struggling. So I just feel really called and I'm annoyed when the Lord does this, but I trust him that, like, I need to just share this. I need to share where I'm at because I know that sometimes social media or just being out and about makes it seem like it's so easy. Like, I've heard 1,000 times from the most common thing that I hear about me, the most common thing that my family buffers is like, how does she do it all? And it's like, you just want to scream, I'm drowning. I have been there, and some days I'm still there. And I think that having an immense amount of faith helps you realize that God, well, let me backpedal a little bit. I feel like when I first started in my faith journey, and when I first, like, my faith has always been big. I've shared that before. We have an amazing youth group, really strong affinity to the Lord. I love my faith so much. Even when it wasn't cool to love your faith, I loved my faith. And I've always been very unapologetic about it. And I think that it's easy to have big, bold faith when life is easy. And it's not as easy to have big, bold faith when you are being tested beyond what you realize your capacity is, like beyond what you think your capacity is, I should say, only to realize that there's greatness there. And that's what the Lord is trying to uncover and allow you to discover through those trials. And the way that trial looks for me is different than the way that trial looks for you, is different than the way that trial looks for your family. Everyone's cross is different, but it doesn't make that cross any heavier or lighter. So I just feel like what I have personally lived through in the past year, if I would have stuck to that old saying, the Lord never gives you any more than you can handle, I don't think I would be okay. Um, I think the Lord constantly gives us more than we can handle so that we are constantly turning back to Him and asking for the graces and asking for the prayers and bathing ourselves in humility. Because I think if I would have tried to do everything on my own and in my own way over the last year, gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I would be. Um, Especially when you throw in the mix hormones and postpartum and all of the above. I just think like if you're in that busy, overwhelming, borderline impossible season, like I see you so much. I see you so intimately. I know where you're at. And I've shared this before on the podcast. The scripture verse of the wedding feast at Cana when they're out of wine. I've heard other couples in their marriage say this before, like, pray for me, we're out of wine, and I've never understood it until this year. I mean, we have been stretched in so many ways in my home. And, you know, it's personally, it's professionally, it's financially, it's all of the above. And it's just being totally and completely dependent on where the Lord is leading. And sometimes He just shuts doors completely, and sometimes He opens them a crack. And sometimes it's for us to decipher where exactly He wants us to step and walk because He doesn't make it overly obvious. I wish that everything would be super duper clear. But I think that it's in those moments that he allows iron to sharpen iron, and it allows us to step into a season of, I didn't even know I could do this. And I want to focus on that more than anything is like when life feels full, when life feels messy and chaotic and cluttered, and it's easy to be distracted or feel like God is far away and to feel guilty about that. And especially for moms, that mom guilt, like I am dropping the ball. I should be doing more. I'm failing in so many ways. I just saw a priest talking about this on Ascension Press. Like for Catholics, we go to confession, but just like I am lazy with sloth. I can't get everything done. I overindulge, blah, blah, blah. And the priest is like, are you tired? Are you getting enough sleep? We have to give ourselves grace. Satan, especially in this vocational calling of being a mom and being a wife and being a woman, who we are, we he tries to create so much shame. And I think that when we're in a season of maybe working in the home, working out of the home, doing a combination of both, it's like we get lost in the day shuffle instead of having an immense amount of gratitude for where the Lord is trying to talk to us, where He's trying to strengthen us, where He's showing us that some of these seasons, there's things within it that we need to surrender, showing us some of our trauma feedback loops, perfectionism, overfunctioning, self reliance, people pleasing, survival mode thinking, hormone dysregulation. This all ties into always what I talk about. Like what's good for the body is in general good for the soul. And what's good for the soul is also good for the body. On the seventh day, He rested. He created our body to sleep. He created us to need rest. And I mean, the Lord didn't need to rest, but He did too. And so I think it's so critical to invite the Lord into the mess. He's already there, don't get me wrong. But oftentimes when I was going through, and I still, like you guys, we aren't out of the thick of it by any means, but I'm finding so much redemption in what the Lord has done and in all of those trials. Whereas, like at the time, it's like, Lord, let this end, let this be done. I can't do this another day. But I know you'll give me the strength and stamina to do it if you are calling me to do it. It's so funny. I mean, with homegrown, with everything, like this is very personal, but there's like a lot of financial stress with homegrown. And I'm like, you know what? If we can just win the lottery, if we could just win the lottery, this would be fine. And as I was praying about it, the Lord has folded in so many great things into my prayers, but it just dawned on me like no great story ever ended in, and then we won the lottery. Like it never ended that way. And I think that through the trial by fire that we were in, it really exposed a lot of cracks in my own personal foundation and in our family foundation and in the way I was running businesses and always taking the brunt of everything, the financial stress within a business and not holding people accountable in a way because I cared about them. I care about them personally, but I also need to care about my family. You know, there are things where the Lord was really like, you have to recognize your own worth and your own value if you're ever going to be able to step into everything I'm calling you to do. And that was so difficult. But all of these things, like when I look at where I was, where I'm currently at, and where I know he's calling us to, and it's gonna be so good, you guys. It's gonna be so good. I think of when the Lord was preparing David to be king. He sent him Goliath. David was up against a giant. So when you're in an impossible feeling season, God is using those seasons to refine you. They're not punishment. They feel like it. They feel like it. They feel like it. I mean, the Israelites were led into the wilderness on purpose. David was the king. He was sent back to tending sheep. The chosen people were fed every single day manna in the desert. God provided. It wasn't in the way that they wanted, but through seasons of refinement, it allows us to grow in the graces He wants to give us. It sharpens every single one of those skill sets. It sharpens every single bit of our resolve. It creates greatness. I believe that. I believe that. And that's not saying I'm great, but I know stepping into this season, I'm a much better person than if I would have stepped into it 2 years ago. I'm a much more healthy person. I'm a much more protective of my family person. I'm a much more protective of myself person. And not to be selfish, but because God gave me my body and my temple and my vocation within my home to steward, and it's my job to steward it. That's my job, to do that first and to do it well. And so I just think like if you're in a season where you're hustling and you're maxed out, you're exhausted, you're out of wine, you're out of wine. Like when I think of that verse, back to it, the panic that they must have felt when they're like, we are out of wine and we still have like days of this feast, this wedding feast. And you turn to the Lord and you're like, I am empty. I got nothing left in the tank. And that's how I felt for so many days and so many nights. Like, I am empty. I'm exhausted. I have nothing left in the tank, Lord. I am out of wine. And God makes new wine. And it's better. It's better than you could have imagined. It's better than you could have done on your own. God has constantly given us more than we can handle. So we are always turning back to Him. So we're always realizing we don't have to do it alone. So we're always surrendering to Him in the chaos so He can create beautiful moments, so He can create and cultivate so much sharpness within us so that we can see how great He made us and we can see how intentionally He's providing for us. And it truly is just amazing, you guys. Like, I could tell you so many stories over this last year of how the Lord has provided for our family financially, just with even like food. God will provide when it feels impossible. And that's where it's like, oh my gosh, when people don't have faith, it just like fills my heart with such immense sorrow because I don't know without faith where I would be, what I would have done, where I would have turned to, how dark things would have gotten. Like, I don't know. I truly don't know. Because even with faith, you still have those moments where it's like, what is the point? And the sin is not in what is the point. It is in like, I have lost my faith. I don't believe the Lord will care for it's feeling like you are forgotten. And I think explaining this to my children in a way that makes sense for them too is like, Lord, I know if you would not think about me, I would cease to exist. I know you love me that much. But man, I'm in the desert and I'm crying out and I need you. I just need an olive branch. I just need a dove with an olive branch. And so what I would do during these times of just exhaustion is I would use this HALT theory. HALT, HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. It is just a way to remind us that God created us as a whole being. So hungry, when we think of this with little kids, like hangry and emotional, when I'm looking at like myself, hungry, I'm not just hungry for food. Am I hungry for rest? Am I hungry for boundaries? Am I hungry for presence? Am I hungry for purpose? When we're spiritually or physically undernourished, we become more vulnerable to distraction, despair, or discouragement. This goes into the polyvagal theory. We start to just disassociate. So, looking at, Lord, where do I need to feed myself today? Where do I need to spend my time? Where do I need to not spend my time? Just as importantly, because if we're trying to feed ourselves in a way that's not good for us, well, back to kids, if they're like hangry and emotional, and we are hangry and emotional, again, not just biologically hangry, but spiritually or mentally hangry, and we're fueling ourselves with the wrong thing, it's only going to make things worse. So, really taking time to rest in the word or literally just rest, be present, put the screens down. How much am I scrolling? Am I doom scrolling? That's dopamine. That's an issue. So, H, hungry. A, angry. Again, usually when we're running on short fumes, we have a tendency to go, me personally, probably a lot of people, get a little angry, easily agitated, especially when we feel out of control, afraid, unheard, or overwhelmed. Anger is not the sin, it's a signal. And if we don't do something righteous with that we can stew in, that's never good. That's not good for our body. That's not good for our soul. But when you're not fed, body, mind, soul, you have a tendency towards anger. Your cortisol gets higher, your fuse gets shorter. Again, this is biology and belief all at one time, guys. Are you following? So when I have to just get in check with myself, like, who am I snapping at and why? What's the point? L, lonely, 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 lonely. Silence and secrets are where Satan thrives. That I believe it. Isolation is the enemy's favorite breeding ground. And so I felt ashamed to talk about where we were at. I didn't want to let people know how stressed we were. I didn't want to let people know how underwater I felt. Psalm 69, like, save me from the muck and the mire, Lord. Must I restore what I did not tarnish? I was exhausted and I isolated myself in my home and I was ashamed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what's going to kill me. God designed us for community, for sisterhood, for manly support as well, for our spouses, for support. Jesus had his disciples. He didn't walk alone either. So have good people around you. Start with your spouse. Go back to my podcast with Todd. Listen to it. It was so good. It's like one of my most popular podcasts. And I think people are craving that marital intimacy outside of intimacy, emotional intimacy. Start with your spouse and then create strong connections. I have a small circle. I have a really small circle of friends. And I am so grateful for that small circle that knows me so well. And I don't need it to be any bigger. I love people, but keep that circle of your friends small and walk to heaven together. It is such a gift. So, have I spent time outside of my home lately with my friends that keep me sane? If not, do it. Maybe once a month is too much. Once every other month, try it. But community accountability, it matters. It's so important. This is like why health coaches, this is why practitioners are great at Elevated. You want accountability. You want someone to lean on when you're feeling like, I cannot do this on my own. Make sure they're the right people. But just a small check in again, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. How tired am I? I am exhausted. Fatigue makes everything feel impossible. Weariness distorts reality. And God cares deeply about our rest and resting in Him, not just resting, not just kicking back and watching a show on TV. Are we resting in Him actively? Like, pause for dramatic effect. Because I just don't think a lot of people do this. Seeing clients at Elevated when they're anxious. Have you prayed yet today? No. Venerable Fulton Sheen said, our anxiety increases in direct ratio to our proximity to God. The closer we are to God, the less anxiety we have. The further we are from God, the more anxiety we have. And I think that that happens because we start to focus so much on our own anxiety. Now, you guys, anxiety is so real. Like, I am a person who has struggled with it. But I believe that if we get so caught up in our own anxiety and our own wrestling and we fail to give it to God, we feel like we're taking it, we're walking it out, and we're alone. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. So, this halt practice, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Halt before you act. Stop and just think, am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? What am I hungry for? Body, mind, soul. Why am I angry? What's triggering me? Is it because I'm hungry? Body, mind, soul. Am I lonely? Have I spent time with people who can relate, who can talk me down, who can meet me where I'm at and relate? Am I tired? Are you tired, mama? Rest in Him. One of the best and biggest things I've done. Oh, why am I crying about it? I don't know. I'm annoyed how emotional this is making me. Start every day on your knees, actually on your knees. I feel like, personally, me, I love to rest in the Lord comfortably. I like to sit and pray and read my Bible and have coffee and all the fun vibe things. No, I start your day on your knees. Let your children see you on your knees. This was something that was huge in my home growing up. We would pray our night prayers every day, every night together on our knees as a family, even when we didn't want to, even when we would huff and puff about it. Mom and dad would be on your knees. Roll out of bed, hit the ground on your knees. Lord, I am tired and weary today. Please bring rest to my weary soul. Please fill me with hope and help me to know that I am not hopeless. And then break those bonds of hopelessness. Dr. Bob Schutz has deliverance prayers. I would 10 out of 10 recommend getting that book. It's cheap. It's like $6 on Amazon. Man, Satan will bind you up in your weariness, in your hopelessness, in your abandonment, in your isolation. Break that. Break it. Not just for you, for your kids, for your spouse. Generational sins, break them. They've got to go. So many things that you can do within that for yourself, for your family, and for your core healing. Ooh, listen to me get all worked up about it because it's important. It is so important to do. Dr. Bob Schutz is amazing. He is a therapist, Catholic therapist, and he would work through stuff with his clients, but he's like, I'm going to get farther with them if I can pray with them. And so he has done amazing. He has written the book, Be Healed, Unbound, and then Deliverance Prayers for Healing. I would highly recommend it. I would highly recommend it. I think my own healing journey, when I have started to work through that for myself as well as for my children, has been so powerful. So powerful. Other realist, like, also that's very realistic, but like, are you actually hungry? Eat a high protein snack. Do you need rest from the stimulation? Take a deep breath, lay with your legs up the wall, say a prayer. Are you lonely and isolated from your friends? Send them a voice memo, shoot them a text. Get outside, reconnect. Like, I'm surrounded by so much technology. If I'm feeling like I don't even know what to do, I go outside, I sit outside in the sun 5 minutes. Don't care what the temp is. I'm out there. Usually, you're just tired. You need sleep, 8 hours at least. You're not lazy. You're tired. You're exhausted. You're hungry, body, mind, soul. You're going to learn from it and you're going to grow and you're going to step into greatness. Some of God's greatest work happens underground. The roots help build a strong shoot. You don't dig up the seed or the roots. You water it, you check on it, you trust, you're patient. Busy seasons or seasons where it doesn't, busy seasons for you, but in those that wait, it doesn't mean God is not there, silent, or not working. He is building the foundation. You're being formed. You're not failing. So if you're in a busy season, if you are being stretched, if you are tired, if you are weary, you're allowed to slow down, but you're not allowed to give up. You have got to keep going. He's inviting you to trust deeper. He's telling you to dig in, and he's saying, I made you for greatness. Your greatness looks different than my greatness, looks different than your mom's greatness, looks different than your best friend's greatness. But he made you for greatness and he wants you to see that. And I want you to see that too. Do not give up, sister. When you are in the thick of it, do not give up. When you are in the dark, the light is coming. Build in these practices, trust, wait, run the race, keep the faith. You have got this. You've got this. It's not easy. It's freaking worth it. I'm so proud of you. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, whatever he's called you to, girl, you go. He created you for greatness. Step into that, step into it proudly, and trust every second of it. All right, kind of an off-topic potty for today, but potty podcast. Stay tuned. We are rolling out the podcast with Dr. Brianna coming up on CST adjustments. I appreciate you guys so much and know that I am praying for you. Please pray for me. In the meantime, big blessings.